Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility. And then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so, you know, it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
Titus Chapter 2 and verse 1. But speak thou things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience.
So here we start off talking about how the aged men should be. And next we're going to go into the aged women. And why is that? Because that is the foundation of building a community. First and foremost, a family. And then once that family is built, it goes on to that community as well. But it starts with the aged men and the aged women, just like so they put out there about how her parents were in helping her setting that foundation. That's why here it's starting off with how the aged men and the aged women should be. The aged man should be sober. So that's talking about liquor sober, but it's also talking about sober in mind. Sober in understanding true things in life, because the true wisdom in life is what we go through on a daily basis. How to communicate with one another, how to live with one another, how to overcome circumstances where there's a falling out between two people. That's being sober. And a man with wisdom is going to find out how am I going to mend this relationship? How am I going to bring it back together? Because why? That's destroying the community. So it says that the aged man will be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and in patience. Those are very important qualities that an aged man should be.
So you understand how you saw men had to be accountable first. Because as Ezekiel just pointed out, that is the head of the community, not the woman, not the child, a man. A man has to be in his rightful place. He has to be doing righteous things, temperate, grave, sound in his faith, meaning sound in the understanding. When you read verse 1, doctrine. There is a format in which a man is supposed to be rooted in, not his own format. Men don't know, just like women don't know. We all have to be taught how this is supposed to be. We're not going to learn it from the trees. We're not going to learn it from the energy that people be saying, oh, I just follow energy. Like, what does that mean? You don't even know what energy, somebody had to tell you what energy was, or you had to learn how to read, which means someone taught you how to read. So there is a doctrine, there is a format, a blueprint in which a man has to follow. After that, everybody else can be in their place. Having some type of structure. There's no structure sometimes. You got to have a structure. Right?
And going back to this title, well, all of Paul's writings, Paul was writing what? Letters to the churches in these different places. To do what? To fix what was going on there. So now we're starting to read this and we understand that something that was going on in this church here, Paul is trying to correct. About what? How the elders, the men and the women, need to groom the younger people. So he saw that it was going off. Things were starting to be destroyed. Let me get on the aged men and aged women so they can put things back into order. All right.
So verse 3, the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things.
So now we go to the aged women. It says behavior as becoming holiness. Holiness means what? To be set apart. Behavior to be set apart in a good manner, that you look upon them and be like in Proverbs 31 when it talks about how a virtuous woman is. The aged woman should be in that way. And it says, holiness, teachers of good things. The good thing is talking about what? God's law. Teachers of God's law. To the point of you're not seeing God's law as, oh man, this Bible, all it got is a bunch of laws and we can't have any fun. No, God's law is to show you how to have fun, how to live your life the right way so that you're not carrying on and you're not always angry. You're always not upset. You're always not at odds with your brothers and sisters. Because when you take away God's law, that's what you have chaos. There's no good things going to come when you take away God's law, because that's the only thing that's going to give us the knowledge to understand that we need to have patience. That's how you're going to overcome your problem, by having patience and working through the way that God set up. So that's why it's talking about the good things that they need to teach.
You brought up a key point. You said set apart, which means we wouldn't be like, or our women wouldn't be like other women.
Exactly.
So the fad of what's going on right now, the Barbie doll look. Who invented that Barbie doll look? Because we don't naturally have long, flowy, blonde hair and eyelashes that go all the way down to your cheek. If you're set apart, that means you're set apart from that.
That's why I said set apart in a good way. Not that, because they set themselves apart so they can get some attention. They need more attention. Let me put on these long eyelashes while I'm looking like a Muppet. Let me put on some Ronald McDonald red hair. All of this stuff for attention. That's not the set apart that it's talking about.
Yeah, you gotta clarify that, man. You know what I mean? You gotta clarify that. All right. So it says, verse 4, that they may teach the young women to be sober.
So now it's talking about the aged woman. The duty of the aged woman is to teach the younger women how to be sober, how to be, going into what the sister talked about on the videos.
It's a lot of black women that don't know who their children are. They don't understand, take the time out to deal with the personalities of their children and learn them. I'm 43 years old. My mother still don't know me because she didn't really take good time with me when I was growing up. And once I became an adult, it was such a toxic relationship that she can't really say she know me. She doesn't really know how I would handle certain situations, or what I would say in certain situations, or what I would do. She doesn't really know that stuff about me. She doesn't know about my stances on different topics and subject matter. She has no idea. And a lot of times this starts when the children are young. You just don't take no time to learn them. You be so busy trying to be in your own world, doing your own thing. Your children are an afterthought.
A sober person is someone that is awake, someone that is aware, someone that is paying attention to what's going on. So it says the aged women are supposed to teach the young women to be sober, to be aware, to know what's going on with their child, what's going on in the community, what's going on in the house and outside of the house.
Turkey back, I guess not piggyback, but turkey back on what you're saying. This all comes from instructions. That aged woman has to learn it from somewhere. She has to learn it, then she has to teach it. If not, you're creating a domino effect. So you don't teach your daughter, you don't teach your son. They have kids, they don't teach their kids. They have kids, they don't teach their kids. That sobriety comes with being conscious. You have to be aware at some point to say, this ain't adding up. This just don't seem right. Whether it's in finances, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in you just being charitable to other people, friends. How to be a friend to somebody. How to clean your house, how to clean yourself. These are things that you have to be conscious or sober-minded to acknowledge that either you're lacking in something. You got to know that. And the only way you're going to know that is to know that you got to understand there is a guide. If you ain't going to follow that guide, hey, you don't know that. You thinking, I'll make up what I'm doing along the way, which is creating more and more chaos. As we can see, 80s to the 90s to the 2000s where we are right now. Totally different type of people nowadays. Men seem to be very different. Women seem to be very different. Children seem to be very different. Our personalities, our sober minds have literally declined at a rapid rate. So much that when you do see a man, you be like, man, I ain't seen one of them in a minute. Now that's a real man right there. Like, wait a minute. So what is every other male you see?
That definitely means something wrong. When you have to say that's a man right there, Like, you know, it's rare.
Like that's a unicorn or something like that. But guess what? You got men saying the same thing about women. I haven't seen a lady in such a long time. I forgot what you guys look like. You understand? So we got to be sober-minded to know that, hey, something's going on. And it is up to all of us who are aged, minded, and through our experiences to teach our offspring something's wrong. Verse 4, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children.
So here it's telling you these are things that have to be taught. It's not natural. To love your husband is not natural. It's something that has to be taught. And then you look at that word taught, it actually goes into train. Something that you have to be trained on. How to love your husband and how to love your children. Many people probably curse you out. Call you all type of names if you tell them, no, you don't know how to love your husband and your children. You need to be taught that. They look at you like you're crazy.
Might cut you. You might get cut. You might get stabbed.
But the Bible said, well, God said, children, you have to be taught how to, not even taught, you have to be trained on how to love your children. And then going to the video, like the sister said, that a lot of times it's because that the person has gone through trauma and now they put that trauma upon their children as well. You've gone through trauma and now hurt people hurt people. You don't want to be the only one in pain and now you're putting somebody else through some trauma as well. That's why that has to be taught. Yes, sister.
So, so hurt people hurt people. So I'm divorced now, but as I was going through my life with my husband, you know, he hurt me, you know, physically, not physically, mentally, and then sometimes physically, not as bad. But anyway, my children saw a lot of that. So, of course, my children were always, you know, with mama. And so in the end, you know, I had to teach my kids to not hate their dad, you know, so I taught them not, even though your dad is how he is, bottom line is still your dad. So just to make a long story short, today they have a real good relationship with their dad. I mean, and I understand that other women, you know, when they go through it, you know, they always bashing them in. I never did that, you know. And to this day, my children right now have a good relationship with their dad because I taught them not to hate their dad because of what he did, because he was taught that way when he grew up. So he didn't know any better. So the cycle had to break somewhere. So I taught them not to be like that.
Hey, all praise.
All praise to the Most High. So you followed actually what that said. Be sober. That was a sober-minded thing, not to continue that hatred or that habit. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, that was my husband, that's your father. Two totally different relationships. But that's good that you instilled that in them. I can commend my mom, although she didn't go through atrocities with my dad like that. When they separated, I've never heard my mom speak negative about my dad. Neither did I ever hear my dad speak anything negative about my mom. They made sure that, hey, at the end of the day, that's your mama, that's your daddy. You love them unconditionally, regardless of the fact. So I can honestly say, man, it's good to be able to see elder women keep that type of poise. Nowadays, you got women who literally wait till a man get home to argue with the husband in front of the kids, or the baby daddy in front of the kids, to have an audience. I want y'all to see how full of mess your daddy is. And they want the kids to see that. Men are not like that. Men are usually like, hey man, why are we doing this in front of the kids? Hey, go in the room right quick. So you have that perpetual hatred that some people were taught or they saw, and they can continue through their lives so that their offspring can see it. A perpetual hatred. So all praises that you didn't, you learned from that, and you were like, no, I'm not going to have my kids continue with that type of curse. So all praises, sis.